Hello there, and welcome to the Midnight Science Channel. Tonight, we explore one of the most mysterious and enchanting places on our planet, the deep ocean. This is a world hidden beneath the waves, a realm of silence, darkness, and ancient secrets. So, relax, breathe slowly, and allow your mind to drift as we journey into the deepest secrets of the ocean. Imagine yourself floating on a calm sea. Above you is the familiar world of light and sky, but beneath you lies an unexplored universe. As you slowly slip beneath the surface, colors begin to fade. Reds disappear first, then oranges, then yellows, until everything becomes a serene shade of blue. The water cools around you, and the sounds of the surface fade away. Your descent has begun. At around 200 meters, you enter a region known as the twilight zone. Here, sunlight becomes weak and faint. Shadows stretch across the water, and the world grows dim. Strange creatures drift through this soft half-light. Lanternfish with shimmering scales, delicate hatchetfish with mirrored sides, and transparent squid that seem to blend into the water itself. Their eyes are large, evolved to capture even the smallest trace of light. This dim region is quiet, cold, and full of life uniquely evolved for darkness. As you continue deeper, sunlight disappears completely, but a new kind of light emerges, bioluminescence. Gentle glows of blue and green pulse softly through the water. Tiny sparks drift through the dark like underwater stars. Creatures here have learned to create their own light. Some use it to attract mates, others to lure prey, and many use it to hide by blending their glow with the faint light above them. The deep ocean is not an empty void. It is a world illuminated by living light. At 1,000 meters, you enter the midnight zone. Here, darkness is absolute. No sunlight has ever reached this depth. The pressure becomes immense, heavy enough to crush most life instantly, yet the creatures here thrive. The anglerfish floats silently, its glowing lure swaying in front of razor-like teeth. The gulper eel glides by with a massive mouth that opens like a net. The vampire squid drifts gently with soft, webbed arms and a faint, mesmerizing glow. Even larger than these is the giant siphonophore, a colony organism that can stretch longer than a blue whale, drifting silently through the depths like a living ribbon. These creatures are masters of survival in the darkness. Now you reach the ocean floor. A wide, endless plain stretches beneath you. It is cold, silent, and untouched by sunlight for millions of years. But even here, life persists. Sea cucumbers crawl slowly across the sediment. Crabs search for drifting organic particles. Brittle stars move across the seafloor like living constellations. In some areas, deep-sea coral forests grow, their pale branches swaying gently in the current. These corals grow slower than any tree on land, and some have lived for thousands of years. The deep sea floor is a living archive of Earth's history. As the journey continues, you approach something extraordinary, a hydrothermal vent. From cracks in the Earth's crust, superheated water bursts into the ocean, carrying minerals that shimmer like smoke. This water is hotter than boiling, yet life thrives here in total darkness. Giant tube worms stand like glowing red candles, reaching nearly 2 meters in length. Blind shrimp detect heat instead of light. Clams with incredibly strong shells cluster near the vents. These ecosystems depend not on sunlight, but on chemosynthesis, life fueled by minerals from deep within the earth. In this darkness, life has adapted in ways once believed impossible. Now we descend even deeper into the Hadal zone, the deepest region of the ocean. Here lies the Mariana Trench, a place nearly 11,000 meters deep. If Mount Everest were placed inside it, the summit would still be underwater. The pressure down here is over 1,000 times greater than at the surface. Yet even in this crushing darkness, life persists. Ghostly amphipods swim through the water. Soft-bodied sea cucumbers crawl along the trench floor. Microorganisms survive at pressures that would destroy most forms of life. This remote, silent world remains one of the least explored places on Earth. Slowly, gently, we begin our ascent. As you rise, you pass the strange creatures of the trench, the hydrothermal vents where life glows in the darkness, the plains of the deep-sea floor, and the drifting lights of bioluminescent animals. You move through the midnight zone, back into the dim twilight, and finally return to the soft glow of the surface. The ocean is full of secrets, some discovered, many still hidden in the depths. It is a reminder that even on our own planet, there are worlds we barely understand. As you return to the surface, let the calm and stillness of the deep remain with you. Thank you for joining me tonight. Until next time, sleep peacefully, and As we drift just beneath the surface, the ocean still holds countless mysteries waiting to unfold. The water around you feels calm and gentle, but the life here is just as remarkable as the creatures found in the deepest trenches. Schools of fish move together effortlessly, shifting and swirling in perfect harmony as if sharing a single mind. Rays glide beneath you like living wings, their movement slow, graceful, and almost dreamlike. Far below, the great migrations of the ocean continue. Every night, billions of deep-sea creatures rise from the depths to feed near the surface. This vertical migration is the largest movement of life on the planet, happening quietly in the dark. Tiny plankton drift upward, glowing faintly. Lanternfish follow them, their bodies blinking softly like underwater fireflies. Squid dart between them, their tentacles catching the faint moonlight filtering down from above. All of this happens silently, hidden from human eyes, yet it shapes the balance of ocean life. As you continue drifting, imagine the vast mountains hidden beneath the waves. Underwater ridges stretch for thousands of kilometers across the seafloor, taller and longer than any mountain range on land. Some of these peaks rise so high that their tops create islands, while others remain forever submerged. These underwater mountains create swirling currents and protected valleys where sea life gathers. Corals cling to their slopes, fish shelter in their shadows, and sharks patrol the deep waters around them. The ocean is also filled with shipwrecks, ancient and modern, resting quietly on the seafloor. Some are covered in coral, transformed into artificial reefs, teeming with life. Others lie untouched, frozen in time, holding memories of long-lost journeys. Cannons, anchors, pottery, and forgotten treasures rest beneath layers of sand. Over centuries, these wrecks become homes for eels, crabs, and small fish that weave through gaps in the wood and metal. In the darkness, these silent relics become part of the sea. As you drift deeper, the temperature of the water slowly drops. The warm surface currents give way to colder, heavier layers that move with the rhythm of the earth itself. These deep currents travel across the entire planet, taking hundreds of years to complete a single cycle. They carry nutrients, oxygen, and ancient water from the polar regions to the deepest trenches. This movement is slow, almost imperceptible, but it is one of the great engines that keeps the ocean alive. Without these deep currents, life in the sea would collapse. The ocean is also a place of volcanic fire hidden beneath the waves. Along the mid-ocean ridges, molten rock rises from the Earth's interior, creating new seafloor every day. Sometimes this volcanic activity creates hydrothermal vents. Other times, it forms underwater volcanoes that erupt silently in the darkness. When these volcanoes grow tall enough, they break the surface and form new islands. Many tropical islands were once violent underwater eruptions that slowly grew into lush landscapes filled with birds, plants, and coral reefs. In the open ocean, enormous creatures glide through the water with calm, effortless motion. Blue whales, the largest animals ever known, travel thousands of kilometers across deep, cold currents. They dive into the twilight depths to feed, rising to the surface with slow, powerful movements. Their calls echo across the water, reaching other whales hundreds of kilometers away. These deep, resonant songs travel farther than any sound made by any land animal, carrying messages through the dark waters. In contrast to the whales, tiny plankton play one of the most important roles in the ocean. They drift with the currents, absorbing sunlight and releasing oxygen. Every second breath you take comes from plankton in the sea. Despite being microscopic, plankton form the base of the entire oceanic food chain. Without them, life in the ocean and life on land would not exist. They bloom in massive patterns visible from space, swirling like turquoise clouds across the world's oceans. In the cold polar seas, the deep ocean reveals another of its secrets. Beneath the ice, life continues in complete darkness during winter. Seals glide effortlessly through the black water. Tiny amphipods cling to the underside of floating ice. Fish with antifreeze proteins in their blood swim slowly through the frigid depths. Even here, where temperatures approach freezing and light is absent for months, life has found a way to flourish. As you drift through these waters, the ocean becomes a world of contrasts, places of complete darkness and sudden bursts of light, regions filled with abundant life and others nearly empty and silent, landscapes shaped by fire, ice, and time. The deeper you travel, the more you realize that the ocean is not a single environment, but many worlds layered on top of each other. And yet, for all its vastness, more than 80% of the ocean remains unexplored. Every expedition reveals something new: undiscovered species, forgotten geological formations, ancient fossils, and entire ecosystems no human has ever seen. The ocean is Earth's greatest remaining wilderness, a place where the unknown still thrives. As you continue drifting through the deep, the ocean reveals another hidden world: underwater canyons carved over millions of years. These vast chasms stretch for hundreds of kilometers beneath the waves, deeper and longer than the Grand Canyon on land. Cold, nutrient-rich currents sweep through these underwater valleys, creating oases filled with life. Octopuses hide among the rocky walls. Schools of silverfish swirl in the narrow passages. Sharks patrol the deeper channels, their bodies moving with effortless precision. These canyons act as highways for marine creatures, guiding their migrations through the dark waters. Far below, in the deepest parts of these canyons, lie vast plains of soft sediment where traces of ancient life settle slowly. Every particle here tells a story: shells of microscopic organisms, remains of long-forgotten creatures, and fragments of once-living material that drifted down from the surface. Layer by layer, the seafloor becomes a natural archive, storing the ocean's history in silent, uninterrupted stacks. Near the seafloor, strange jellyfish drift like slow, glowing ghosts. Some pulse with rhythmic lights that travel across their bodies like waves. Others remain completely transparent, their forms only visible when light passes through them. These delicate beings drift with the currents, surviving in places where food is scarce and conditions are unforgiving. In the deep, where predators lurk in every shadow, their transparency is not only beautiful, it's essential. In the distance, you might see the silhouette of a large, graceful creature gliding through the water. It may be a giant squid, one of the ocean's most elusive animals, with eyes the size of dinner plates and tentacles that can stretch for many meters. The giant squid is perfectly adapted to life in the dark. Though rarely seen, it is a powerful hunter, using incredible bursts of speed to catch prey in the blackness. Legends of sea monsters may have begun with glimpses of these magnificent creatures rising toward the surface on stormy nights. Moving upward once more, the world begins to change. The water grows slightly warmer and the darkness becomes softer. Here, drifting marine snow falls constantly from above. This snow is not ice, but a gentle rain of tiny organic particles, fragments of dead plants and animals, bits of plankton, and small mineral grains. This slow, quiet snowfall feeds countless creatures living in the deep. Though each particle is small, together they sustain one of the most important food chains on the planet. High above, in the midwater, enormous predatory jellyfish stretch their long tentacles like drifting nets. These tentacles can measure meters in length, floating silently until the slightest movement triggers a capture. Smaller fish and plankton often stumble into these near-invisible lines, becoming trapped in the jellyfish's gentle but inescapable grasp. Despite their delicate appearance, these jellyfish play a major role in regulating the balance of life in the deep ocean. As you drift further through the midwater region, another incredible phenomenon appears: the deep scattering layer. This layer is made of billions of small fish, shrimp, and plankton that rise toward the surface each night and sink again before sunrise. They move like a single massive organism, creating a band of life that stretches across every ocean on Earth. During World War II, sonar operators thought this layer was the seafloor itself, only to watch it mysteriously rise at night. Today, we know it is the largest daily migration of animals on the planet. Closer to the surface, the water becomes brighter and filled with more life. Coral reefs thrive in the shallow, warm regions. These reefs, though only covering a tiny fraction of the ocean floor, support nearly a quarter of all marine species. Coral polyps, tiny creatures that build stone-like skeletons, create massive reef structures over thousands of years. Their vibrant colors and intricate shapes provide shelter for fish, crustaceans, eels, and countless other organisms. At night, corals extend their delicate tentacles, catching plankton drifting in the currents. Slowly and silently, the reef grows. Sea turtles glide gently across the reef, swimming with peaceful, slow movements. They stop occasionally to rest in shaded crevices or feed on seagrasses waving in the current. These ancient creatures have existed for over 100 million years, surviving changes in climate, shifting continents, and major extinctions. Their presence on the reef is a reminder of time's vastness and the ocean's deep resilience. Not far from the reef, a kelp forest sways rhythmically in the coastal currents. Huge strands of kelp rise from the seafloor all the way to the surface, forming underwater towers that move like living sculptures. Sunlight filters through the kelp blades in shimmering patterns. Fish weave between the swaying stalks. Sea otters rest on their backs, wrapping themselves in the floating kelp to avoid drifting away. This forest, though quiet and gentle, is one of the most productive ecosystems on Earth. Further offshore, the open ocean stretches endlessly in every direction. Here, strong currents move with incredible power, shaping the movement of marine life. Massive schools of tuna race through the water at remarkable speeds. Dolphins leap in and out of the waves, hunting fish in coordinated groups. Flying fish burst from the water's surface, gliding through the air before slipping back into the sea. The open ocean may seem empty, but it is filled with constant motion and life. As clouds gather above, rain begins to fall. The ocean surface ripples softly, becoming a mirror broken by 1,000 tiny circles. The sound of rain striking the water echoes faintly below the surface, creating a calming, rhythmic pattern. This rainfall brings fresh nutrients into the sea, feeding plankton blooms that support entire food webs. Even the smallest raindrop plays a part in the ocean's endless cycle.